Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the market forecast. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Tuesday, May 11th. Markets are moving. Things are up. Things are down. Gold just took a little bit of a spill here this last half hour. That one came pretty fast. That thing was staying inside and dumped over fast. I'm not seeing exactly what it is, other than I think just a much needed little break. That market was struggling to get up above, and every time it pressed that higher resistance, the market sent it right back, and this time it said enough's enough. You got stocks. Both stocks are tumbling. And then you've got the Dow. The Dow staying strong. I think we're down a little bit on the Dow right now. But yesterday, you got Nasdaq down 2.5%. Yet the Dow rallies 200 points, I think, is what it ended up yesterday. So what you're seeing is people are starting to pull out of tech. They're getting that money out of the tech and saying, I think as this economy opens up, maybe some of these more brick and mortar, some of these bigger names are going to be able to give me some better returns. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Nasdaq really seems to be struggling, which was a year ago. Nasdaq was the leader. Nasdaq was the strong one. It was pressing higher every single day. It was making highs when no one else was. Now that's the one that really has struggled with the world kind of getting back to normal. You get crude oil still spilling over there. No surprise. There's some questions going on. What's going to happen with this whole cyber attack on the pipeline here in the U.S.? They're saying that they're going to be back on track by the end of the week. We're going to see gas prices start to surge. Probably. So you got oil still taking a little bit of a hit here, down at that $64 mark. Euro staying inside, and got the wrong chart popped up there. There we go. And the 10-year note still inside there. So like we said, big things going on. The pipeline, a lot of questions around that. A lot of concerns. Tech continues to create the pressure to the downside. You got Tesla selling off, continuing the sell-off. Just in the last couple days, within the last 5 days, we were up at $680 a share there. And now we're down right around that $630. So that's really taking the pressure lower on that. You've got VIX spiking. When the VIX goes up, stock's down. It makes complete sense. If the VIX continues to climb, maybe we're going to expect to continue to see this sell-off here. So we got pipeline. They're saying the service should be restored there by next week. Still a lot of questions around that. They are saying possibly Russian hackers. That just seems to be kind of the go-to. Oh, the Russians. Yeah, it was the Russian hacked. Yeah. Seems pretty normal. FDA just approved Pfizer's COVID vaccine for kids 12 and up. So that's good. Let's get out there and get those vaccines. So maybe there's some shakeups coming over in the UK. Former UK Prime Minister Cameron has had quite extensive meetings with some senior members of Parliament over there. The Queen has started to make some notion with Johnson about what's the plans are post-pandemic. This Dogecoin has just got me truly intrigued. All over the board. I've been watching this for the last, couple weeks. It's an interesting one, to say the least. Elon Musk has had a lot of influence on it, from Saturday night sending it down to tweeting the next day about to the moon. Is it going to go to the moon? Is it going to go to the Earth's core? I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think we're right around 50 cents, 49 cents a coin right now. So if you want to pick up a couple bucks worth, doesn't hurt. Maybe you got the next Tesla. Maybe you got the next Bitcoin and the thing runs to 50,000. But maybe not. So it's cheap right now. You can get in it. Give it a shot. I don't think it hurts to buy at 50 cents. If you buy let's just say $100 worth. It's an easy risk. We risk that probably more in every single trade we take each and every day. So it's kind of interesting. Shot in the dark to maybe catch the next Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to get there. Speaking of Bitcoin, micro Bitcoin is continuing to bring in the volume. I have been watching it extremely closely here lately. Yesterday we finally kind of had some move on it. The spread on bid and offer is still pretty wide, but you know what? It's not even 8:30 yet. That market has taken in 8,500 contracts traded so far. And just for comparison, I'm gonna pull up my regular Bitcoin here. And regular Bitcoin was 2,400 so far to this point. So I think there's potential here. I've been watching it extremely closely because it's something I think would be a lot of fun to trade. It's much less inexpensive. It's much more inexpensive than the standard Bitcoin. We just need to see some thickening up on the actual market of this, the auction of this, because right now you're looking at a 15 tick spread on the bid and offer, and there's good volume. When you start to get to the volume, when you get to that liquidity there's some decent volume. I'm seeing stacked on the buy side right now, 29, 39, 43, 91, 15. On the sell side, you've got 50, 61, 114, 89, 86. So there are some volume coming in there. We just got to get this market to tighten up. I think once it tightens up, it's going to be a little bit more accessible, a little bit more feasible for us to start looking at a little bit closer. Because don't get me wrong, I think we all want to be checking this out. It's crypto. It's fun. And if we can do this in an environment and in a platform that we're comfortable with, why not, right? So hopefully we can get this thing tightened up. I think it will. I think we're getting there. I think it's bringing in a lot more interest. All right. Good morning, Ed, Bill, Rick, Richie, Lamis. Down or up? Good question. Seems to want to keep going lower. Subconscious. Good morning, Jim, Colin, Greg, France, Taurus, PD, Ashton. Good morning, Mike, Toan, Keith, Alex. Dow finished down a bit yesterday. I thought for some reason Dow was up 100 yesterday. Tanya, triple distribution on the overnight profile. Doesn't fill pre-open today. All right. Caesar, good morning. Felix, JD, the dancing bear. Vince, good morning. Missed the gold move this morning. That's all right. There's always going to be another one, and there's no reason for Dogecoin, pure gamble. Hey, if you want to take the shot, take the shot. It's 50 cents. I don't think it's a bad thing to risk 50 cents if you want to try something. It has a lot of interest. Wouldn't be talked about as much if it didn't have a lot of interest, so I'm going to continue to be watching it because I find it relatively interesting and fun to keep an eye on those things. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these markets here today and see what we got going on. We're going to start with our daily in crude oil. Remember, weekly kickoff levels in crude oil. Low, 63.50. Very well within our sights to the downside. Although this market has started to look like it wants to recover up to saddles. We'll take a look here in just a second. With weekly kickoff high up at 67.30. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and look right at that 30-minute chart and see what we got going on now that this market's opened up. We've kind of made a little bit of a triple bottom down here, right around that 63.90 mark. Now as this market continues, we've kind of, remember when we were trending lower, we put this trend line in. I think we put this trend line in at the end of last week. It has continued to present relative. It has created some points to pay attention to. So this market, we opened up right on the overnight low. Great opportunity for us. We talk about it every day. The first thing we want to look at is that close the gap to settlement price. Can this market bounce off a low, start to make that rotation higher? This one's going to have a little bit more work to get all the way up at settlement. Remember, that's 64.92 up above. we've got some points that we got to be careful trying to get through, right? We've been maintaining trend to the downside. So our highs are getting lower. We've got to change direction to get to settles. We also have value area low from yesterday right here at 64.45. Another area to pay attention to. So now this market, as we've started to bounce off the low, so I think right now it's a great opportunity. This open this morning, you can be able to buy that low and say, I'm keeping my risk extremely tight. I'm just putting it below all three of these lows here. I'm going to take a shot, see if we can get this thing to bounce up. And you've got possibly targets right around, I would personally start looking at value area low from yesterday. Like I said, I think it's going to take a lot to get through settlement price. But if we accept into yesterday's range, no question in my mind does this market want to get to settles and yesterday's point of control. Remember, that's 64.92. Now we start to rotate over. I'm looking at that 63.50 weekly kickoff low. We've got our trend line as this market continues. We're not too far off of that. So we've got a couple points down below to start to keep an eye on. We want to watch the news. Make sure we're paying attention to what's going on with this pipeline. And that is going to give us a little bit of indication. So down below 63.50, up above 64.45 to settlement price, up at 64.92, which again is yesterday's point of control. Next, look at the S&P 500. This market coming right down to weekly kickoff low of 41.10. We're not far off, 15 points to go. And again, I just want to point them out. You guys know we've got a couple EMAs here. I've been messing with them. I've been trying to run a bunch of different moving averages here today. Nothing's really setting up too well. We've got the 20 EMA here, which is where this market has moved through last night, right at 41.52. And you've got the 50-day EMA down below. So that's going to catch my eye. That's my visual. If this market gets through weekly kickoff low, it's going to take a lot for this market to really sell that far, but it's got potential. It's done it before, so I'm not going to say it hasn't done it again. What we've noticed is if you look back, the 50-day tends to be where that market attracts to when we just have a standard sell-off, right? So does the market make it down to the 50-day today? Maybe sometime this week. It's down at 40.60 right now. Looking a little closer here on the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look. We're opening up away from settlement price. We are approaching the level that I sat down this morning and really has my attention. It's not far off, but 41.20 is my first pit stop before I get down to that 41.10. But we're opening up away from settles. Settlement price up here at 41.83 half. 41.83 half. This open is going to tell us a little something. We're going to get an idea of where this market can go on the open. If it starts to give us some life, that we're going to start a rally, we're going to get this market higher, I'm not making that move all the way up to settles to sit here and think I'm going to make 60 points on a trade like that. It's not really realistic, right? We want to manage expectations going into each and every trade. So I'm going to look at this and say, I've got good potential here. I got to start to pay attention. Where was the consolidation? Where was this market reacting in the overnight? This is where I'm going to start to look. My attention's coming right into here. That 41.50 mark, which happens to come right to our 20 period EMA. 20 period, again, this is the 30-minute chart. That's where I'm going to be looking for this market to retrace to. If I'm still in my trade there, which you very well could be, you start to watch that order flow, watching our volume, watching participation in momentum, how that market reacts. If it's showing acceptance and it's showing that momentum, we can then continue on with this market. And you can run it probably up to 70. You can start to look right around that 65 to 70 mark. I think it's going to take a lot for this market to rotate all the way back to settlement price up here at 83.5. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm not entering into that trade off the open which is relatively reasonable, right? We've got limited risk. We can manage things here. We can also take a little bit of heat in a trade like this because we have high probability that off the open, the market is at least making that attempt to settlement price, right? If we open up as far away as we are right now, we can't always expect it to close that gap, but we can trade it with that intention that it wants to close that gap because we've got a lot up above that this market's going to want to check out. We've got that unchecked point of control up all the way up at 42.21 from yesterday. We've got value area low from yesterday at 98. Yesterday's regular trading hour low of 78.5. You've got settlement price at 83.5. So there's a lot going on up above that this market might want to check out. But if the tech sell-off continues, we're going to have to pay attention to that. And then we just start to take this move lower. And we showed you a couple points to look at on the daily. Remember, that was weekly kickoff low, 41.10. And just again, so you can see the visual here, the 50-day EMA all the way down here at 40.60. All right, next let's look at the Nasdaq. Now, Nasdaq is in a different market state, in my opinion. This isn't just some sort of standard pullback. This is a market adjusting short time frame direction, right? We see when the Nasdaq does sell off, we have bigger drastic sell-offs. Well, we're in a strong sell-off right now. Where are we looking for this thing to go? Well, right now, I think it's a little bit of a ways off, but again, moving averages have been hugely beneficial in the last couple years. They have been big points of interest and targets for these markets to run to. So I'm looking down here at this 200-day SMA. SMAs and EMAs, those are what I personally look at. And I usually am running 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, and 200s. I don't have them all in the charts at one time. I get confused. It's a lot of lines. I don't want a lot of lines. I want to keep things simple. So I make my adjustments. I adjust them regularly. I'm always looking at them and I'm always marking them. So all the way down here, we're going to call it 788, 790. That's an area of interest that I want to watch. Do I believe we're going to get there today? I think it's going to take a lot because we got to get through 12,900. 12,900 has, over the last, basically since the start of this year, has been a major consolidation point. A lot of volume has traded in this area. So that's my first check on this market if it continues to the downside. Now, let's look a little bit closer. We have settlement price all the way up here at 13,356 3/4. This market, just like S&P's, is extremely far away. It is not showing much upside potential. If the tech sell-off continues, you've got, Apple, Netflix, down 2% yesterday. Amazon was down 1.5%. Tesla, big sell-off. Microsoft was down. So if we continue this tech sell-off, we're looking for strength to get in on trend, right? This market right now is telling me nothing that it wants to retrace. Nothing telling me that it wants to completely turn around. I'm looking for the market to show me a little bit of strength so I can get in on directional trade. That's what it's telling us as we sit here now. We are continuing to make lower lows. We're making lower highs. Notes to pay attention to. We got to keep an eye on that. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for strength to sell, to take this trend lower. Now, that can change very quickly. Keeping an eye on the news. This market can open up. We are on overnight lows right now. It can open up. It can retrace. But again, I'm not looking for huge moves all the way up to settlement price. I think it's crazy to sit here and think I'm going to make a 300-point move on a rotation back to settles. I'm going to start to look, where was this market reacting last night? Well, it was reacting right here at 170. We've got moving averages. Got a couple here just so you can see them. 20 period SMA. Market has retraced to it multiple times. Very good potential that this market could run up towards 70 near these moving averages. And that's where I'm looking. And maybe that's a point where we're looking for the short instead of the long. There's a lot of different ways we can look at this. So that's what I've got right now. Let's watch how this thing opens up, and it may adjust us. I want to hustle up here. I'm getting a little long-winded. Gold selloffs continues. We're well within weekly kickoff levels. Remember, weekly kickoff high up here at 1880. Weekly kickoff low down here at 1782. When we look a little bit closer, market's rolling over. This was a trend line we threw in on a daily, on a recap a while back, just catching our attention. That was an area that this market was reacting. So not far off, 1818, 1819, kind of an area down below. We do have a moving average, a 200 period, not day period, SMA on a 30-minute chart, which is where this market seems to want to be getting down to. I really am looking at this and saying we had the pop on Friday. Market traded in a range yesterday and today. And now we just finally broke outside of this range. And we're looking to come down towards points of different consolidation. We've got an unchecked point of control right down here, falling in line with that 200 SMA right at 1815. That's what I'm going to pay attention to. Obviously, market can rotate over. It can move higher. It can get right back to settlement price. To get through settlement price, I'm paying closer attention to 30.31 to see if we can get inside 30.31. If we can get inside there, we get settlement price up at $1,837.60 is where our settlement price is last night. Next, let's look at the euro. Euro's pretty much staying inside right now. Yesterday's range, well within weekly kickoff levels. Its weekly kickoff low is 1994. Weekly kickoff high up above at 122.50. Here's our daily. We are very comfortably in yesterday's value area, yesterday's range, with settlement price down below at 121.54 even. Market is making the move towards settlement. We have checked settlement multiple times in the overnight. We haven't checked it since it's opened up. Here's what I like. Market opened up. We rallied to yesterday's high, and yesterday's high was a sell-off. How often are we talking about? Yeah, this show goes a little bit after the open. So if we're trading this thing on the open, which is totally accessible, feasible, and reasonable, we're looking for those opportunities. Market has broken off of yesterday's high. Yesterday's value area high was rejection as well. We are rotating over. We got settlement price down below. And I'm going to accept within Friday's value area as well. That's going to start to get my attention to the downside if this market gives us some regular trading hour range. As we all know, as soon as U.S. markets are opening up, this market doesn't like to give us a whole lot of direction. So keep that in mind. Be patient. Remember that when you're entering into your trades, limit that risk. All right, lastly, let's just take a quick glance at the 10-year note, which has rejected settlement price here quite a bit so far. Looking at the daily here, this market's trying. It really is trying to get back on an upward trend. But with yields, with what's going on with yields, there's a lot of questions, concern around yields and inflation. Man, gold continues to sell. I'm looking for this market. Gold and treasuries a lot of times work in conjunction. They are correlated markets. This afternoon I'll come with actual data on that. So this market opened up a little bit ago. Off the open, we rejected settlement price and have started to rotate over. I'm not going to look for an opportunity right now, right? We have pressed below the overnight lows. We've got yields showing up a little bit right now, actually pretty decent. You get the 10-year yield up 22 basis points. So this market is telling us it wants to move lower. If it continues, we're looking to get in on this market. You're going to have to probably even look on a little smaller time frame to get a little bit of an idea of where that pullback is, because you want to manage the risk. When I say a little bit smaller, I mean I'm not going lower than a 15. I want to be clear on that. I'm looking possibly in this area right now. We're at overnight lows. We can get short here, and we can, and This is just a hypothesis, an idea. You can get short here and you can watch this market and you can possibly put your stop on the other side. Again, we're not showing acceptance just yet below those overnight lows. We haven't fully given in to the downside move, but a lot of signs are telling us it wants to. Now, that changes. That can change in an instant. Settlement price is up here at 132.19.5 with value area from yesterday, value area low from yesterday at 132.21. So that's my upside idea there. Right now I'm thinking that maybe this thing wants to keep the sell-off going. Again, we watch those yields. Let's pay attention to what's going on. We do have some areas down below, prior swing lows, that may attract this market to the downside. Right now, I'm going to sit patient on this because I don't like the way it's setting up right now with bonds down, stocks down, gold down, euros looking down, crude oil's down. I don't really know. One of these is going to turn around. And I got to wait to see what happens, right? These can't all sell off on me in one day. All right. Let's see here. Rob, good morning. Vince, does your volume profile automatically add the previous day value area high and low? Yes. So when you just value area high and low is a piece, a part, or a tool within volume profile. I've got mine set at 70%, and it should automatically do it for you. Tone, do you know how to get smooth chart on Tradeovate? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that one. I'm not sure what a smooth chart is. Drew, is that volume profile in your 30-minute chart built into Tradeovate, or is that a custom community indicator? That's just a Tradeovate indicators. You go into, what is it called? Drawing tools. When you select drawing tools, just go down and select volume profile, and you click it where you want it. And NQ, watch for price limit. In combine or funded accounts, you cannot trade when the price limit gets within 2% of the limit. Thank you, Murph. It's always a great thing to share. If you're in a funded account, if you're in those live accounts, remember we have that 2% rule. If the market gets within 2% of the lock limit down, which is 7% right now in the NQ, so if that means if the NQ gets to 9%, we want live traders out of the marketplace. And I think that should apply to everyone. We don't want to get stuck in these positions. Once you start getting to that 5%, then the thing starts going pretty quick, and we don't want to be in that. So be careful there. Right now, down 2%, just shy of 2%. All right, everybody. I'm going to sign on out. Markets are getting ready to open up. Make sure you join us today on the Coach's Playbook at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. And then I'll be back this afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Time with the market recap. And just as a heads up, John and I are both off here come Thursday and Friday. So Thursday and Friday, there will be no market forecast. And Wednesday and Thursday, there will be no market recap. I just want to make sure everyone knows about that. Again, no market forecast on Thursday or Friday. John will be back Monday morning to continue on, and then I'll continue my vacation. We are both taking some time off right before summer hits. So just want everyone to have an idea of that one. Again, no market forecast Thursday or Friday. No recap Wednesday or Thursday. Thank you. All right, guys. Getting ready to open up here. I want to trade. So you guys all stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. Look forward to seeing you guys in the markets here today.